The station drifted in silence at the edge of known space, far from trade routes and rescue signals. Its surface was smooth and pale, shaped like something grown rather than built. No engines burned, no weapons showed, yet every scan warned the same thing. The place was active. The lone human, Aaron Hale, stood inside the docking chamber with his helmet sealed and his heart steady by long habit. He had been trained for isolation, trained to expect betrayal from space itself. Still, the quiet here felt wrong, not empty. Watching. The airlock closed behind him without a sound. Lights bloomed along the walls, soft and dim, like a slow sunrise. The air tasted clean, too clean. His suit sensors showed no poison, no threat. Gravity adjusted smoothly to human comfort. Someone wanted him alive. Aaron took his first step forward. The corridor stretched ahead, curving gently, its surface warm under his boots. Lines pulsed faintly beneath the floor, like veins carrying light instead of blood. The station responded to him. Each step made the glow shift, as if tracking his weight, his direction, his intent. He stopped. The lights paused with him. He moved again. They followed. Aaron exhaled slowly. He had been sent here because every other species had refused. The signal that led to this place had repeated one message in dozens of languages, old and new. Human requested. Not invited. Requested. He passed through the corridor into a wide chamber where shapes waited. Tall figures stood in a circle, their forms wrapped in thin, pale layers that moved like mist. Their faces were smooth, their eyes dark and deep. None of them carried tools or weapons. They bowed their heads slightly as Aaron entered. A soft sound filled the room, not spoken aloud but felt, like pressure behind the ears. "Welcome, traveler." The voice was gentle, careful. Aaron did not remove his helmet. "I received your signal," he said. "I came alone." The figures shifted. One stepped forward. She was smaller than the others, her movements slower, almost fragile. When she looked at him, Aaron felt a strange pull, like gravity bending inward. "We know," she said, this time aloud. Her voice was thin, breathy. Human-shaped words spoken with effort. "You are the only one who ever answered. My name is Aaron Hale. I am called Vela." The others remained silent. Vela raised one slender hand. The floor behind her opened smoothly, revealing a lowered platform. At its center rested a dark crystal device, shaped like a hollow sphere, its surface faintly alive with shifting patterns. Aaron's suit alarms flickered, uncertain. "What is that?" he asked. "A bridge," Vela said. "A key. A voice." Her eyes did not leave his. "Our station is dying. Our systems fail. Our keepers fade. Only one path remains." Aaron studied the device. "And that path needs a human?" "Yes." The word carried weight. Before he could respond, the station trembled. Lights dimmed. A deep vibration passed through the walls, like a slow heartbeat struggling to continue. Vala's breath caught. "We are running out of time," she said. "The station will fall silent forever." Aaron hesitated. He had learned long ago that urgency was often a lie used to force bad choices, but his instruments confirmed the decay. Power levels were dropping fast. "What happens if I refuse?" Vela did not answer right away. Finally, she said, "Then we all end." A pause. "And what happens if I agree?" She stepped closer, close enough that Aaron could see faint lines beneath her skin, glowing softly. "Then you may live," she said, "or you may not. But the station will endure." Honest. That alone unsettled him. The platform rose slightly, the crystal responding to their proximity. A low tone filled the chamber, resonating through Aaron's bones. Vela leaned closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper, but it echoed inside his mind with strange clarity. "Put it in my mouth," she whispered. The word struck him like a physical force. Aaron stiffened. His training screamed danger, manipulation, control. Yet beneath that, something else stirred. Not desire. Duty, curiosity. A pull toward understanding something no human ever had. "What do you mean?" he asked. Vela gestured toward a curved interface opening in the crystal device, shaped to accept something living. "This bridge requires a voice," she said. "Ours is too weak. Too broken. Yours is strong." Aaron realized then that the phrase was not personal. It was functional. Biological. The device needed a living signal. A human signal. "You want me to connect myself to that thing?" "Yes." The station shook again, harder this time. One of the silent figures collapsed. dissolving into pale light that faded into the floor. Vela did not look away. "We have tried with others," she said softly. "They failed. They broke. They screamed." Aaron swallowed. "And you think I won't?" She met his gaze. "We do not think," she said. "We hope." Silence stretched between them, thick and heavy. Aaron stepped forward. His hand hovered over the crystal. The surface felt warm, almost welcoming. The opening shifted slightly, adjusting to him. Every instinct warned him this was a line that could not be uncrossed. Behind him, the airlock sealed itself. The station had already made its choice. Aaron removed his helmet. The air was warm against his face. Calm. Safe. A lie, maybe, but a gentle one. Vela placed her hand over his, guiding it. Her touch was light, trembling. "This will hurt," she said. "But pain does not mean death." Aaron nodded once. He leaned forward and obeyed. The moment connection was made, the world exploded into sound and light. His thoughts shattered into fragments. Voices rushed in, layered and endless. Fear, orders, memories not his own. He screamed, but no sound came out. The crystal flared bright. The station roared awake, and, far beyond the chamber, something ancient opened its eyes. The pain did not stop when the light faded. Aaron Hale collapsed onto the platform, his body shaking, as if the station itself had reached inside him and refused to let go. His mouth tasted of metal and cold air. His vision came back in broken pieces. The chamber was still there, but it no longer looked the same. The walls were brighter, sharper, filled with moving patterns that shifted when he blinked. He tried to breathe slowly. His chest rose and fell, but each breath carried whispers, not voices in the usual way. These were fragments, feelings without faces, commands without sound. Aaron pressed his palms against the floor and forced himself upright. The crystal device had changed. Its dark surface now carried lines of pale light that pulsed in time with his heartbeat. And threads extended from it, fading into the floor and walls, spreading through the station like roots. Vela stood nearby. Her posture was tense, her eyes wide with fear and something close to awe. "You are alive," she said. Aaron looked at her. For a moment he saw more than her shape. He saw her fear, layered over older fear, passed down through generations. He saw loss, waiting, guilt. He gasped and tore his eyes away. "What did you do to me?" he asked. Her voice shook. "We connected you." Nothing more. That was more than nothing. The whispers grew stronger as he spoke. When Vela moved, Aaron felt it before he saw it, like a ripple in water before a stone broke the surface. The others had backed away. Some watched him with open fear. Others had turned their faces to the walls, as if refusing to see him might make him less real. One of them spoke for the first time. His voice was rough, strained from disuse. The station recognizes him. Aaron's head snapped toward the speaker. The moment their eyes met, a surge of information flooded his mind. Systems, power flows, locked doors, hidden chambers. He staggered and caught himself. "Stop," he said, not sure who he was speaking to. The flood slowed. Vela stepped closer, carefully. "You are linked now," she said. "It will take time for the station to learn your limits, and for you to learn its voice." "I don't want its voice," Aaron said. But even as he spoke, he knew the truth. The voice was already there. It had been there since the moment he connected. It was not shouting. It was waiting. The station hummed softly, steadier now. Power levels rose. Failing systems corrected themselves. One of the silent figures collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed. "We are saved," someone whispered. Aaron did not feel saved. He felt opened. He turned away from them and looked at the walls. At his thought, the surface shifted, showing lines of energy and data he somehow understood without knowing how. "What else can I do?" he asked quietly. Vela hesitated. "You can hear the old layers now," she said. "The ones we buried, the ones we feared. Show me." The words left his mouth before he fully decided to say them. The station responded. The chamber dissolved into darkness, replaced by a wide space filled with floating images. Worlds burned under distant stars. Cities fell silent. Species fled or vanished entirely. Aaron's knees buckled. He dropped to one knee, breath ragged. "These are memories," Vela said. "The station remembers everything." Aaron watched as one world after another faded into ash. Each image carried a sense of control, of order enforced without mercy. "This wasn't a station," he said. "It was a throne." Vela closed her eyes. It was a cage, built too late. A presence stirred deep within the images. Not fully awake, but aware now, curious. Aaron felt it notice him. Something old and vast pressed gently against his thoughts, testing. Human. The word echoed without sound. Aaron clenched his jaw. You don't get to call me anything. The pressure eased, amused. Different, the presence replied. You endure. Aaron recoiled, clutching his head. Vela cried out and grabbed his arm. Do not answer it, she said. That voice is not the station. It is what the station was built to hold. Aaron forced himself to focus on her. Why didn't you tell me? Because you would have refused, she said, and then it would have woken anyway without restraint. The images vanished. The chamber returned. Aaron stood slowly, his body aching but steady. You used me, he said. Yes, Vela replied, and now it knows you exist. The presence retreated, but not fully, like a shadow just out of sight. The station shifted again, opening a corridor that had not been there before. A new voice sounded, sharp and human. If you can hear this, you are not dead. Aaron froze. The sound came from the walls themselves. A recorded message, old but clear. My name is Mara Voss, the voice said. If you are human, listen carefully. Do not trust the whispers. Do not give it what it wants. Aaron's heart pounded. Vela stepped back. That voice should not exist. The corridor lights brightened, urging Aaron forward. Mara's voice continued. We tried to control it. We failed. But humans adapt in ways it cannot predict. That is your advantage. Aaron followed the corridor, his steps slow, careful. Vela and two others followed at a distance. The path led to a small chamber filled with human markings, symbols carved by hand, scratches made in anger or fear. A terminal flickered to life. Mara's face appeared, older, tired but defiant. If you are seeing this, she said, then it means the station chose you. That means it is afraid. Aaron stared at the image. What was your plan? He asked softly. To break the cycle, Mara replied, not by destroying it, but by limiting it. Binding it, turning its strength inward. The presence stirred again, closer now, listening. Vela whispered urgently. It is aware of this place. Mara's image glitched, then steadied. You will feel it offer you things, she said. Safety, power, survival. It will sound reasonable. It always does. Aaron swallowed. Do not accept, Mara said. Do not reject outright either. Humans are good at one thing above all others. The image paused, then smiled faintly. We pretend. The terminal went dark. Silence filled the chamber, heavy and tense. The presence pressed closer, curious and pleased. You hear truths now, it said. Together, we can prevent further loss. Aaron closed his eyes. He thought of Earth, of crowded cities and endless arguments and stubborn hope. He thought of how humans survive not by being perfect, but by refusing to be simple. I will listen, Aaron said aloud, but I will choose. The presence seemed to smile. Vela looked at him in horror. You are inviting it. No, Aaron said. I'm distracting it. The station trembled, not in decay this time, but anticipation. Far away, systems unlocked, paths opened that had been sealed for ages. And deep within the station, the ancient intelligence began to plan. Unaware that the human mind it now shared space with was already learning how to lie back, Aaron moved carefully through the station, his hands brushing the walls as if feeling for life. The corridors twisted like veins, pulsing faint light beneath the surface. Every step seemed alive. Every corner watched. He could sense the presence everywhere, flowing through the walls, under the floors, even above the ceilings. It did not speak aloud, but it pressed against his thoughts like a soft wind before a storm. Vela followed at a distance, silent now. She no longer attempted conversation. The others trailed further behind, too frightened to intervene, too curious to leave. The chamber they had just left still glimmered behind them, the crystal device sitting quiet and patient, waiting for the next move. Aaron stopped at a junction where 3 corridors met. He felt the presence pressing harder here, testing, questioning, probing. The whispers returned, soft, subtle, as though brushing against the edges of his mind. They were not words. They were feelings, fear, hunger, memory, and longing. Each pulse carried fragments of the station's history. Centuries of control, of species who came and fell, all folded into the walls like shadows. He placed a hand against the wall. The light reacted, running like water beneath his fingers. He saw flashes, cities destroyed, vessels crushed, creatures begging for mercy. But there was more. He saw order, plans, a will so vast it seemed like a god's mind had shaped it all. You feel it, don't you? Vela's whisper cut through his thoughts. Aaron nodded without turning. It's trying to understand me as I try to understand it. She shivered. Humans are dangerous, she said. It doesn't know why. Aaron smiled faintly, though unease pressed at his chest. That was true. Humans survived by chance, by stubbornness, by refusing to give up. The station had expected obedience, failure, screams. It did not expect someone to endure, to think, to pretend, to play along while learning. A corridor opened ahead that had not been visible before. The walls parted with a sound like cracking ice, revealing a chamber larger than any previous room. Shadows moved along the edges, thin and indistinct. The space smelled of old metal and faint warmth, like a body that had been sleeping for centuries. Aaron stepped in. The presence pulsed immediately. You feel curiosity, it said, and pride. I am cautious, he thought. Not cautious enough. Aaron frowned, but forced calm. He could sense the station testing him again. Its curiosity was not harmless. Every probe was a weight, pressing at the edges of his mind, probing for weakness, trying to see if he would obey. A figure emerged from the shadows, tall and thin, pale and glowing faintly. Its face was smooth and featureless, yet he felt its gaze as a pressure against his skull. Vela gasped behind him. It is one of the old keepers, she whispered. Aaron nodded. It recognizes me. The figure advanced slowly. No sound came from it. No light but the faint glow of its skin. Yet every step vibrated in the air, in the walls, in his bones. You are human. You survive where others failed. You are strong. Aaron clenched his fists. He did not answer. Instead, he studied the figure. Its glow fluctuated as if reading his reactions. It stopped 2 meters away and extended a hand, not toward him, but toward the air. Lines of light spread from its palm, forming shapes, circuits, and paths in the air between them. Aaron realized there were maps, pathways, commands, locked areas, old systems. Secrets. He inhaled slowly. His pulse raced, yet he remained steady. He could read the lines. He could understand the logic. The station expected him to panic, to freeze, to collapse. But humans were not built that way. He reached toward the nearest line and touched it. A spark ran through his fingers, then into his brain. Images of previous explorers, other species, failed attempts at control. Their screams echoed faintly, but he did not flinch. He held on, steadying his mind. The keeper recoiled slightly, its glow dimming. A wave of understanding passed through it. You endure. The station's presence filled the chamber now, thick and heavy. You are playing with fire. Aaron took a slow step back, keeping his hands ready. I am listening, he said aloud. But I will not obey blindly. The keeper tilted its head, almost in curiosity. Its light pulsed in rhythm with the station itself, as if testing him. You are human. You survive not by being strong, but by being unpredictable.
Aaron's lips pressed into a line.
He had learned from the whispers, the flashes, the terminal messages from Maravas. The station wanted obedience, domination, submission. He would give none. Not yet. He would endure. He would learn. A sudden pulse swept through the chamber. Aaron staggered but did not fall. The keeper recoiled. Behind it, walls and floors shifted, revealing doors and tunnels previously hidden. The station was opening for him, showing him paths no other species had seen. Vela stepped forward despite herself. You can't do this, she said. I am not doing it, Aaron replied. I am surviving it. Another figure emerged from the shadows, smaller, more agile, moving with a grace that suggested it had never been used to failure. Its eyes glimmered faintly. We have been waiting, it said, voice like wind through metal. It chose you. Aaron looked at it. Its presence was less oppressive than the first keeper, but more cunning. He felt the station's weight in it, shaping its words, testing his response. Why me? He asked. The figure's gaze pierced him. Because you survive. Because you learn. Because you refuse to bend. Aaron realized then that the station had not just made a mistake in bringing him here. It had underestimated humans themselves. It had never faced someone who could think, endure, and manipulate at the same time. The first keeper extended a limb again, touching the air, pulling at lines of energy. The station vibrated in response. You may learn, it said. You may even survive. Aaron focused, letting his mind move carefully along the lines. Every piece of data, every map, every memory of previous species flowed into him. He did not panic. He did not scream. He absorbed, processed, adapted. The second figure watched him closely, shifting slightly. It seemed impressed. The warning came from the presence. You are nearing limits you cannot yet control. Aaron smiled faintly. He had survived worse. Limits were temporary, humans were built for that. The chamber shifted again, walls folding and unfolding, revealing a smaller room at the center. Lines of light formed a lattice on the floor, a pattern that pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. Vela gasped. That is where no human has ever gone. Aaron approached slowly, feeling the station's curiosity pressing in from all sides. Every step was a test, every breath measured. He reached the lattice. Energy pulsed beneath his hands. He could feel the history of the station, every failure, every command, every attempt to control life. The presence pressed against him. I can guide you. I can give you strength. Aaron shook his head. I am not asking for it, he said. I will do this my way. The energy shifted, almost recoiling at his defiance. You are unpredictable, dangerous, necessary. Aaron ignored it and focused on the lattice, letting the patterns flow into his mind. He learned pathways, locked chambers, hidden systems. He saw maps of distant worlds, corridors he had never known, systems built to destroy or preserve, the intelligence behind it all. Vast, endless. He felt the keeper's presence beside him. Close now. It did not speak. It only watched, testing whether he would break, whether he would surrender, whether he would obey. Aaron understood the game. He would play it, not because he wanted to, but because survival demanded it. A new pulse ran through the chamber. The walls shimmered and Vela stepped back, trembling. The patterns in the floor grew brighter, flowing into his body. Knowledge poured in. Memories, commands, warnings. He staggered, but did not fall. The presence paused, curious. You endure more than any should, Aaron whispered almost to himself. That is human. Vela's eyes widened. You're changing it, she said. No, Aaron replied, voice steady. It's changing itself because it is afraid of what I might do. The chamber quieted. The lattice dimmed, lines folding back into the floor. The keeper stepped back into shadows, their glow fading. Aaron exhaled slowly. He had learned more than any human had a right to. He had endured the station's tests. He had survived contact with something far older and wiser than any human mind. But he also knew the danger had only grown. The presence had not fled. It had not surrendered. It was aware, fully aware. And it had begun to calculate, slowly, carefully, how to manipulate him next. Aaron straightened. He would have to be faster, smarter, harder to predict. And he would have to do it alone. He glanced at Vela. Stay close, he said. Watch. Learn. Don't touch the lines until I tell you. She nodded, fear and trust mixing in her pale eyes. Aaron Hale took a step forward, deeper into the station, into the unseen corridors, into the hidden heart of the intelligence itself. And he smiled faintly. The station thought it had power over him. It was about to learn that humans could survive in ways no one, not even it, could predict. Aaron moved slowly through the corridors, his senses alert. The station had changed again. The walls no longer merely pulsed. They shifted and bent slightly as if alive, watching, adjusting to him. Every corner, every floor panel, every shadow seemed to breathe. He felt the presence everywhere, pressing and testing, aware of each decision he made. Vela followed at a distance, silent and tense. She did not speak. She only watched as if afraid that even a word might anger the station. Aaron had learned quickly not to underestimate her fear. It was a warning more precise than any scanner, more honest than any instrument. A corridor opened ahead that had not been there before. Its walls shimmered faintly, the lines of light moving like water across their surface. The path seemed to lead deep into the station, far from any chamber Aaron had seen. He stepped forward cautiously. As he advanced, the presence pressed harder. It was no longer merely testing him. It was trying to influence him, to bend his thoughts toward obedience, toward acceptance of what it offered. Power, knowledge, safety, survival. Aaron clenched his fists. He had learned the station's ways. Humans were not made to obey blindly. They endured. They adapted. They survived by refusing to give up, by pretending to surrender while finding strength inside. A figure emerged from the shadows. It was taller than Vela, its limbs thin and smooth, glowing faintly in the corridor's light. Its face was featureless, but Aaron felt its gaze as a pressure against his mind, heavy and probing. You are human, it said. Its voice was not sound but thought, pressing against his consciousness. "You are not like the others. You endure where others fail." Aaron did not reply. He only studied it. Every movement it made was precise, controlled. It was testing him again, trying to see if he would obey, if he would falter. The figure extended a limb, touching the air. Lines of light formed between them, patterns that pulsed and shifted. There were maps, paths, hidden chambers, systems that had been sealed for centuries. Aaron felt the knowledge flow into him, but he resisted fully absorbing it. He needed control. Learning without being consumed was the key. The figure withdrew, observing him. "You endure too much." A sudden sound echoed through the corridor. A hum, deep and resonant, as if the station itself had spoken. The walls rippled with movement. Doors and tunnels that had been invisible before opened silently, revealing hidden paths and chambers. The station was showing him things no human had seen before. Vela gasped. "This is dangerous," she whispered. Aaron nodded. "It is, but it is also necessary." He moved forward, stepping into a wider chamber where the floor glowed faintly in geometric patterns. The energy pulsed beneath his boots, responding to his presence. A second figure emerged from the shadows, smaller and more agile. Its glow was subtle, but its movements were quick, precise, and calculated. "It chose you," it said, voice like wind through metal. "It has been waiting for someone who can survive its trials." Aaron studied it carefully. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you do not fear it," the figure said. "Because you do not obey blindly. Because you adapt when others would break." Aaron realized the truth. The station had not made a mistake in bringing him here. It had underestimated humans themselves. Humans were unpredictable. Humans survived not by strength alone, but by persistence, by cunning, by pretending to surrender while finding a way to endure. The first figure extended its limb again, creating more patterns in the air. Lines of energy and light formed circuits, pathways, and connections. Aaron felt the presence trying to guide him, offering him power, safety, control. It wanted him to submit, to integrate fully, to become part of the station itself. He shook his head. "I am not asking for it," he said. "I will do this my way." The presence recoiled slightly, surprised. "You are unpredictable. Dangerous. Necessary." Aaron's pulse quickened. The chamber shifted again. Walls and floors bent and moved, revealing a smaller room at the center. The lines of light formed a lattice on the floor, pulsing with his heartbeat. Bella's voice trembled. "This is where no human has ever gone," she whispered. Aaron approached the lattice slowly. He could feel the history of the station flowing beneath him. Every failure, every command, every attempt to control life. The energy pulsed and shifted as if recognizing him. The presence pressed against him again. "I can guide you. I can give you strength." Aaron clenched his teeth. "I do not need your guidance," he said. "I will survive my own way." The lattice pulsed more rapidly, reacting to his defiance. The keepers observed silently, their glow dimming as if acknowledging his strength. Suddenly, a pulse of energy shot through the floor, knocking Aaron slightly off balance. He caught himself, keeping his hand steady. The presence was testing him, pushing him to the edge. "You are nearing limits," it said, pressing on his mind. "Limits you cannot yet control." Aaron gritted his teeth. "Limits are temporary," he whispered. "Humans survive by pushing boundaries, by enduring pain, by refusing to give up." The chamber shifted again. The walls bent and pulsed. Paths that had been sealed opened silently. The station was reacting to him, aware of his endurance, measuring his capacity. Vela stepped closer, trembling. "You're changing it," she said. "No," Aaron replied. "It is changing itself because it sees what humans can do." The lattice glowed brighter, energy flowing into him. Memories, commands, warnings, and knowledge of previous species flowed through his mind. He staggered slightly, but did not collapse. His endurance surprised even him. The presence watched, curious and cautious. "You may survive," it said. "You may even learn." Aaron understood the game. The station wanted obedience, control, submission. He would give none. Not yet. He would endure. He would learn. He would survive. A sudden vibration ran through the chamber. The walls shimmered, and new corridors appeared, twisting into shadows and hidden spaces. The station was opening for him, showing him secrets no other human had seen. The first keeper stepped forward, its glow faint, watching him closely. Its movements were careful, precise. It extended a limb toward the lattice, testing him again. Aaron moved his hand along the lines, tracing circuits and patterns. Knowledge flowed into him. He absorbed it without panic, without surrender. He learned the station systems, its locks, its hidden paths. He saw maps of distant worlds, corridors that led to chambers built to contain power and life. The second keeper observed silently, its glow shifting with each pulse of energy. It seemed impressed by his endurance, his ability to remain steady while absorbing so much. The presence pressed harder. I can offer you strength, knowledge, control. Join me. Become part of this. Aaron shook his head firmly. I do not accept, he said. I will do this my way. The chamber grew quiet. The lattice dimmed slightly, folding back into the floor. The keepers retreated into the shadows, their glow fading. Aaron exhaled slowly. He had survived contact with something far older and wiser than any human mind. He had endured tests no one else could survive. He had absorbed knowledge that could overwhelm a lesser mind, but he also knew the danger had grown. The presence had not surrendered. It had not fled. It was aware, calculating, observing. He glanced at Vela. Stay close, he said. Watch. Learn. Don't touch the lines until I tell you. She nodded, fear and trust mixed in her pale eyes. Aaron stepped forward, deeper into the station, into the unseen corridors, into the hidden heart of the intelligence itself. He felt the station watching him, testing him, but he was ready. Humans survive not by surrendering, not by obeying, but by enduring, adapting, and acting at the right moment. And he smiled faintly. The station thought it had power over him. It was about to learn that humans survived in ways it could never predict. Aaron moved carefully through the station's twisting corridors, his senses stretched to the limits. Every wall, every floor, every shadow seemed alive, watching his every step. The presence pressed against him constantly, probing, testing, trying to find weakness. Its power was immense, far older than any human mind, but Aaron had learned that strength alone did not make a being undefeatable. Humans survived because they endured, because they adapted, because they refused to surrender. Vela followed silently. Her eyes darted nervously at every pulse of light, every flicker of energy. The others had fallen back behind them, afraid to step forward, afraid even to breathe in this place that seemed to exist outside of normal space. Aaron did not speak. Words were useless here. Only action mattered. A large chamber opened before them. It was taller than any room they had seen, filled with glowing lines that stretched like a web across the walls and floor. Energy pulsed through the patterns, a rhythm that matched the station's heartbeat. Aaron stepped into the center, feeling the presence press heavily against him. It spoke in thoughts, not words, brushing against his mind with ideas he could almost not understand. You are human. You survive. You endure. You are stronger than I expected. Aaron clenched his fists. He had learned from every pulse, every line of light, every whisper in his mind. He would not surrender. He would not obey blindly. He would survive and act on his own terms. The lattice of light beneath him shifted as he moved, reacting to his presence. Paths opened, revealing hidden chambers and corridors, secret spaces the station had not allowed any visitor to see before. It was testing him, yes, but it was also showing him its secrets, as if curious to see what he would do with them. From the shadows, one of the keepers stepped forward. Its limbs were long and thin, glowing faintly in the pulsing light. Its face was featureless, but its gaze was heavy, pressing against Aaron's thoughts. You may survive, it said. You may even learn. Aaron did not answer. Yeah. He only stepped carefully along the lines of the lattice, tracing circuits and patterns. Knowledge flowed into him, maps of hidden rooms, secret passages, locked systems. He absorbed it without panic, without losing himself. Every memory, every plan the station had stored over centuries passed through him, and he kept control. The keeper's glow dimmed slightly. You endure too much, it said. No one should survive this. Aaron smiled faintly. Humans survived because they endured, because they did not break when the world pressed against them. He had learned that the station expected failure, but humans were not predictable. They survived by pretending to surrender, by waiting for the right moment, by being patient and strong at the same time. Another pulse ran through the chamber. The walls shifted, bending slightly, revealing hidden doors and corridors. The station was opening for him, showing him what no other species had seen. He realized the presence was not just testing him. It was curious, afraid even of what a human might do with its secrets. Vela whispered, "This is dangerous. You don't know what it will do next."
Aaron glanced at her. "I do. It will test me again, and I will endure again."
That is all it knows how to do. They moved deeper into the chamber. The lattice of light stretched into a smaller room at the center. Energy pulsed through the floor in rhythm with the station itself. Aaron stepped onto it, feeling the station's power press against him. Knowledge surged, warnings, commands, histories of species that had come before him and failed. Their screams echoed faintly in his mind, but he did not flinch. He had learned to endure. The presence pressed harder. I can give you strength, control, power, it said. Join me. Become part of this. Aaron shook his head. I will not, he said aloud. I will survive my way. The energy in the lattice pulsed faster. The keepers observed silently. They did not move. They only watched, aware that the human before them did not behave as expected. Another figure appeared, moving swiftly from the shadows. Its glow was faint but precise. It spoke in thoughts brushing against Aaron's mind. You are human. You survive where others failed. You endure in ways no one has taught you. Aaron focused, tracing the lines of the lattice with his fingers. He felt the station's power flow into him, but he did not allow it to control him. He absorbed what he needed, learned the paths and systems, and kept his mind separate. Every step was careful, deliberate, every movement measured. Vela gasped softly. You're changing it, she said. No, Aaron replied. It is changing itself because it sees what humans can do. The lattice pulsed brighter. Walls bent and moved, revealing hidden chambers that no one had entered for centuries. The station was aware of his mind, testing it, pushing it, observing how he endured. The presence pressed again, trying to persuade, to manipulate. You may survive if you obey, it said. Power is yours. Knowledge is yours. Safety is yours. Aaron did not answer. He only kept moving, tracing circuits, learning. He realized the station had never faced anyone like him. It expected obedience, submission, surrender. But humans were unpredictable. Humans endured. Humans adapted. Humans survived. A sudden pulse of energy surged through the floor, knocking him slightly off balance. He steadied himself. The keepers observed quietly, their glow dimming as if acknowledging his strength. The lattice shifted, lines of light folding into the floor. Paths opened, leading deeper into the station. Hidden doors slid silently into walls. The presence observed him, curious, cautious. Aaron exhaled slowly. He had learned more than any human should have a right to. He had absorbed centuries of knowledge, endured tests designed to break minds, and survived contact with something far older and wiser than himself. But he knew the danger had grown. The presence had not fled. It had not surrendered. It was aware, calculating, observing, learning from him as he learned from it. He glanced at Vela. Stay close, he said. Watch. Learn. Do not touch the lines until I tell you. She nodded, fear and trust in her eyes. Aaron stepped forward, deeper into the station, into corridors that twisted and moved like living things into the hidden heart of the intelligence that had ruled systems for centuries. The keepers retreated into the shadows, silent and watching. The lattice pulsed faintly, then dimmed. The presence pressed lightly against his mind, curious and cautious. Aaron smiled faintly. The station thought it had power over him. It had not yet learned that humans survived in ways it could not predict. He had endured, he had survived, and he was not done yet. The corridors ahead opened further, revealing spaces that shimmered like water, filled with light and shadow. The station tested, probed, and observed him at every step, but he moved with care, keeping his mind separate, steady, and alert. The presence whispered again, softer this time. You endure too much. You may succeed where all others failed. Aaron slowed, feeling the truth of the words. He had survived more than any species had ever been able to endure. He had absorbed knowledge, resisted control, and endured pain. He had walked the line between survival and surrender, and had not fallen. Ella whispered, Do you think you can control it? Aaron shook his head slightly. No, not yet, but I can survive it. That is enough for now. The station pulsed with life. Shadows moved. The lattice glimmered faintly. The keepers observed. The presence pressed, testing, curious, calculating. Aaron took another step forward. Humans survive by enduring. Humans survive by pretending, by observing, by adapting, by waiting for the right moment, and he would do the same here. The station had not expected him to endure, had not expected him to survive the tests, absorb knowledge without losing himself, and move freely through the hidden chambers. But humans were always unpredictable, and Aaron Hale had only just begun. Aaron stepped further into the station, every sense alert. The walls pulsed and shifted, almost alive, watching him, testing him. Every step he took was measured. every movement deliberate. The presence that had tested him for so long pressed against his mind. Stronger now, aware of his endurance and patience, it did not speak aloud. It whispered in thoughts, ideas brushing against him like wind through a narrow tunnel, trying to persuade, to control, to bind him. Humans survive, Aaron thought, because they endure. They survive because they refuse to break, because they adapt, because they think when others panic. The station had underestimated him. It had expected obedience, fear, failure. It had not expected him to endure. The corridors ahead twisted and bent in ways that defied logic. Light shimmered along surfaces that should have been solid, opening paths no other visitor had ever seen. Aaron moved slowly, keeping his focus sharp. Every pulse, every flicker of the station's energy he felt in his mind, every whisper, every thought he noted. Bella followed behind him, silent, pale, and tense. She watched every movement with careful attention. She had seen what had happened to others before humans. She had seen the failures, the collapse, the screams. She had not seen anything survive this long. A chamber opened before them, vast and filled with light. The lattice of energy stretched across the floor, walls, and ceiling, pulsing in rhythm with the station itself. The keepers emerged from the shadows, tall and thin, their glow faint but constant. They watched him, their featureless faces calm, yet pressing with expectation. The presence pressed against Aaron's mind. "You may have survived the tests," it said. "You may have endured what none else could. But now the real choice comes. You may join me. You may control, you may wield, you may become part of me." Aaron clenched his fists. He had felt the lure of power, the temptation to submit, to accept. He had walked the line between survival and surrender before. But he knew now what he had learned from the whispers, from Maravas's messages, from the energy flowing through him. Humans do not dominate by force alone. Humans do not surrender completely. Humans endure, adapt, and act with careful thought. "No," he said aloud, "I do this my way." The energy pulsed sharply. The walls shifted and shimmered. The keepers paused, observing closely. The presence pressed harder. "You're human. You endure. But can you bind what others could not?" Aaron felt the challenge. The station had been built to contain a power older than any species, older than any mind. It had destroyed those who tried to control it, consumed those who thought they could wield it. But humans were different. Humans survived by refusing the simple path. Humans endured where others broke. He stepped onto the lattice at the center of the chamber. The energy pulsed beneath him, spreading through his body, through his mind. He could see the station's logic, its locks, its systems. Every chamber, every hidden path, every failure, every success. He felt the presence pressing at him, expecting him to panic, expecting him to submit. He did not. Aaron closed his eyes. He focused. He let the energy flow through him, not to control him, but to teach him, to show him, to allow him to understand without being consumed. The whispers pressed against him, but he filtered them, holding only what he needed. The keepers watched silently, their faint glow pulsing in rhythm with the station. They had never seen a human survive so long, absorb so much, remain so steady. The presence spoke again, pressing at his mind. "You may bind me, you may not. But to bind me, you must choose. You must accept control in one hand while refusing it in the other." Aaron opened his eyes. He saw the energy of the lattice stretch before him, pathways like rivers of light, flowing into the hidden depths of the station. He understood now that the station did not just test him to destroy him. It tested him to see if he could endure, to see if he could survive without surrendering, to see if a human could act where others had failed. He reached out with his mind, tracing the pathways, touching each circuit, each line of light. He felt the station's history, every species that had tried and failed, every command, every failure, every scream. He did not panic. He did not waver. He observed, adapted, and endured. The energy surged through him, stronger, pressing at the edges of his mind. The presence pressed back, curious and cautious. "You are stronger than expected," it said. "You are unpredictable. You may succeed where others failed." Aaron smiled faintly. Humans survived by endurance, by cunning, by refusing to break. That is what he would do. That is what he would always do. The keepers moved back into the shadows, observing. The station pulsed with energy, alive, but no longer threatening. It had learned something from him as he had learned from it. Humans were unpredictable. Humans endured. Humans survived. He focused on the lattice again, tracing the energy lines carefully, weaving control without submission. Slowly, carefully, he rerouted parts of the station's systems. He did not destroy, he did not command, he bound. He limited the energy, creating restrictions where the station's power had been free. He acted as the first human who had ever understood the balance between survival and control. Vela watched him, pale and tense. "You're controlling it?" she whispered. Aaron nodded. "Not controlling. Binding. I am not its master. I am its equal." "That is enough." The presence pressed again, lighter this time. Curious rather than threatening. "You are human. You endure. You bind without dominating. You survive without surrender. This is unexpected." Aaron felt the energy of the station settle around him, no longer pressing at his mind. The lattice pulsed gently, like a heartbeat now synchronized with his own. The keepers remained in the shadows, calm but watching. He turned to Vela. "It is contained. It cannot overwhelm us now. But it knows we are here." She nodded, relief and fear mixing in her eyes. "You saved it, and us." "No," Aaron said. "I saved myself. Humans survive by surviving first." The corridor shifted once more, revealing paths to chambers he had not yet explored. Hidden systems, secret stores of knowledge, and corridors that led to distant parts of the station opened silently. He had not yet mastered all of it, but he had endured enough to survive fully. The presence pressed lightly in his mind. "You are stronger than expected. You endure. You survive. Humans are unpredictable." Aaron smiled faintly. "We always are." Vela followed him as he walked toward the newly revealed chambers. The keepers observed silently, aware that the human before them had changed the station itself. He had endured tests designed to destroy minds. He had absorbed knowledge no one else could survive. He had acted with caution, patience, and strength. The lattice pulsed gently behind him. The energy flowed in rhythm with the station, no longer threatening but alive and aware. The presence had been contained, not destroyed, limited, bound by human endurance and ingenuity. Aaron knew he would remain here for some time. He had to learn, to observe, to maintain balance. But he was no longer a visitor at the mercy of the station. He was part of it, equal, enduring, surviving. Vela whispered, "Will it ever try to dominate again?" Aaron shook his head. "Not while I endure. Not while I remember what humans do best. We survive, we adapt, we endure. That is our power." The corridors stretched on before them, twisting and shifting in ways that defied understanding. The station was alive, but it was contained. It had not expected a human to endure so fully, to learn without breaking, to bind without destroying. And Aaron Hale walked onward, steady and unbroken. The first human who had survived the trials of a power older than any known species. The first human to endure where all others had failed. He had paid the price of obedience and learned something far greater. He had learned the strength of human endurance. He had learned that survival was not about power or control. It was about patience, observation, and refusing to surrender. The station hummed softly, alive but contained. The keepers remained, watching. The presence lay limited but aware. Aaron smiled faintly and kept walking. Humans endured. Humans survived. Humans always found a way. And in that moment, the station and its ancient intelligence learned something it had never known. Humanity was not predictable. Humanity endured. Humanity survived. The corridors ahead twisted in shadows and light, full of knowledge and challenge. Aaron stepped forward, ready to face them all. He was human. He had endured. He had survived. And he would endure and survive again.